we're actually going to work through uh, converting over this index.html page over into the master page. So if we take a look here, we still have the vanilla master, but this is wired up to our guy, our job portal.master, and it's using our default home layout. Sorry, I'm kind of catching my breath. I just worked out. It's pretty early here. I have a full week, and in order to get these videos out this week, I have to get up early before I get the day started. So you just caught me after a workout, so I'm a little panty right now, but all right, let's get through it. Okay, so if we look, so where I am, I'm in the, let me just collapse so that way if you're following along, I don't run away from you. So I'm in a design project, right? And here we're just going to double click on index.html. And what I've done, I went through and collapsed all of the starting uh, top nodes right under body, all the top nodes. So we have the top, you have the header. So I'm just collapsing all of these guys so that way you can kind of see how this is laid out. There's the copyright and all this other good stuff. And if we take a look at this design file, which I have here, hold on, let me do it this way. I try not to skip any steps so that way you can follow along. So I have this index file here, index.html, and what we want to do, we just want to bring in the shell, right? So we need this top bar, the top nav, everything in the middle. Let's skip that for now, and then the footer. So that's going to be our master page, right? So that's going to be consistent from page to page to page, regardless of which page we're on. That's the outer shell, and that's going to be pretty consistent. And actually, we can do this pretty easy now that we have a structure in place. So the first thing we need to do is take a look at the CSS, everything that's been included. So the CSS and JS, we need to go ahead and bring those guys in. And that's going to reference these subfolders here. So basically, remember, this design file is just the plain design package given to us by the designer. And now we just want to grab what we can and then just drop that into the master. So I'm going to just do this the easy way. Just go and take a look at this on the File Explorer view. And just grab all these guys, right? And copy them over. Keep the same structure. That would make the migration process that much easier. And then go into my style, job portal. I like app sitting along within itself. So I'm going to create another subfolder. I'm going to just call this design as well. And then in here is going to be all of our design assets, right? So if we go back to our project and you hit refresh here, I'm selecting, oops, that's the wrong one. Selecting style library, hit refresh. Now expand this out, you should see those guys in there. So there's my design folder and all this other good stuff. So what that's going to mean is my path to replace all these now should be like job portal / design / then whatever the designer has here. So then CSS font awesome and all this other good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and start copying these guys over. And I might speed this up because I think this is, after you kind of see one or two, it's very repetitive and boring. So let's go ahead and get through first few, and then you will kind of get the gist. Okay, so if we're in the master page, let's go down here to styles. This app.css, remember this guy I said we may end up whacking. Let's go ahead and whack this. So we got job portal. Oh, I named it styles. Design is better. All right, so we're going to do job portal design. And what's our first guy that we need to grab? Let's grab, and you want to keep these in order, right? Because cascading style sheet, he or she, the designer, actually has this in the appropriate order. So whatever's a base style, then the overrides and all this other good stuff is going to stack accordingly. All right, so I think I have this right. Job portal, design, bootstrap. So let's double check here. Job portal, design, bootstrap. Awesome. All right, so that's how we're going to go ahead and drop these in. And really, we're just going to copy and paste, right, to make this a little bit easier. and I think I need 7. So something like that. Okay. Don't worry about these size. So because we are using the CSS registration token or um, thingamajig, what is that? Control component, right? Because we're using that, obviously, like this is just standard .NET to where each ID has to be unique. That's not going to affect the design at 1 bit. So we're not worried about that. Let's go ahead and get the rest of these over. So Bootstrap. Okay, so this guy is coming in from the outside. So this is one that we do not want to wrap inside of the registration, SharePoint CSS registration token. But we do want to keep it in order, and hopefully this still falls into place. So we're just going to copy that over as is, no modification required, because that's just going to the outside to get that from a CDN. Now we have this styles guy. Just copy this over, and then come up here. That was CSS. Just be careful, make sure you're keeping the paths correctly. So basically, I'm just all the way up to design and overwriting everything there, making sure my slashes are correct. Okay, font awesome. This guy here. Oops, forgot the F. Even though this is under the JS directory, this is still a design file, a CSS file. That guy there. This guy here. Okay. I think I grabbed more than what I needed. All right. So go here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just make sure I'm here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's everything as far as design files. So let's go ahead and get rid of the extras. Which are these guys here? Let's get rid of those extra. Bootstrap is an extra. And then we want the SP overwrite. So we want that right at the root of the design. And let's go ahead and create that guy so we don't forget it. Style SP overwrites. Okay, so that's primed and ready to go. Just go ahead and save these all. All right, what else do we have? Okay, so that's it for the CSS. Now we're going to do the exact same thing for the JS files. Now, one of the things that you would notice that the designer, they actually put all their JS files towards the end. We're going to actually, and I think you get a lot of, there's some performance increase if you do this. I think what we're going to do, we're just going to keep these in the head tag only because I haven't tested these at the bottom towards the, right before the closing body tag. You can try it if you like on your site. Let me know how that goes. But I think for just make sure there's no surprises, I'm going to keep these in the head tag. So basically, I'm going to just come up here, copy one of these guys all, and again, keep them in the same order. Because just like CSS, JavaScript is order dependent. And I have this jQuery here, guy. This is, remember, that was just a primer that we had. So let's go ahead and start off with replacing this. And our job portal, again, this is going to be under design, since it's designer, .js, right, jQuery 2.0. Okay, so that looks good. Just be careful of the syntax here because this is a little wacky because the way I've set up using that literal tag inside of the HTML script tag. So I think I need like 5 or 6 of these. So let's just go ahead and get those in. Get the Bootstrap. And I think, honestly, I think this would probably be the hardest, the most tedious piece of the process. Bootstrap. Uh, but if we do everything right, we should be pixel perfect, hopefully. Bootstrap select, and then the carousel. And then internal. Okay. And then we get rid of the extras. And now what we have the all the Angular stuff. And this is where our app component is going to be. So let's go ahead and get that added as well. And this is just going to be under job portal. Let's get over here. Job portal app. And right now we just have the environment.js, which is this guy here. So let's add in, we're done with design for now. Let's go ahead and add in the libs, and then we'll bring in Angular or any other module library that's required. So in order to grab that, let's go ahead and create the file. So JavaScript file, and we're going to call it Angular, what did we name it? Angular min.js. Okay, and then we just go out to the internet and go to AngularJS, and it looks like we're going to do 1.6.7 minified, hit download. Oh, so this guy's going to already do that for us. So what you have to do, you have to find your path. So code, labs, sample, style library, portal, app, libs. Just replace that guy. All right, so that's going to give us the, yeah, that looks good. Nice and nasty. All right, so that's good. Everything else we just have to create by hand. We already have the app, the environment. So we want to do ng modules, services, and then components. So let's just go ahead and create those. Make sure you're in the right directory path for those guys. App.ng modules. App.ng components. Hopefully I'm spelling these right. And app.ng services. All right, and let me just double check the spelling is correct. Modules, services, and components. All right, cool. And I think that's it. So now if we publish this, I think we should be good to go. We should have all of our JS stuff, and we should have all of our CSS items. So let's do here, let's go ahead and right click and publish. And right now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually publish. I can publish either everything, or I can just publish the master. For right now, I'm gonna publish everything. Masterpage dev, and hit publish. And then just bring my window up here to see what's going on. Hit the web publishing. Okay, I have an error, and I know exactly why I have an error, and I did that on purpose. So anytime that you come in here and you do a publish, and you get that type of error, the first thing you want to make sure is that you have an instance of SharePoint in Windows Explorer view, right? You want to make sure you have a library on this environment in Windows Explorer view, and that would authenticate you behind the scenes for Visual Studio to leverage that publishing, because Visual Studio, if you're not authenticated, it won't prompt you for that. So the best way I can, and the cool thing about it is it can be any library. So if I'm publishing to Masterpage Gallery, I don't have to go there and do Windows Explorer View and then also do Style Library in Windows Explorer View. I can do just either or, as long as there's at least one session in this Explorer View. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do the Style Library. And once this gets connected, oh, I need the password. Uh, Maybe I should change this to something I can remember. Always have to keep a OneNote file open. All right, so that's going to be that. So now let's try this guy again. Just hit publish. And that works perfectly. All right, so master page, that should go pretty quickly. You just want to make sure this is what you look for. 0 fails and X number succeed. And for the portal, I'm gonna just go up and grab this guy right here at the root here and hit publish. And that should push out all of my new files. Wait, what happened? Oh, it's working in the background. Okay, so this is going to have 102. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and pause this and then resume once we get everything up. Okay, so the publishing upload completed, but it seems like we have an error. A couple things that's popping out. One, you have 119 over 102. Say, okay, how can you push more than what you have? And basically, the additional 17 or whatever that's going to be is the subfolders that were created. So those were not counted as files. So we pushed up 102 files, but 17 subfolders. So that was a total of 119. The red status actually indicates that there's an issue. And if you scroll through here, this is an error here. It says unable to add design the bootstrap select.js. I have no idea why. So let's just go out here and see what actually came out. So I'm just hit refresh here. And then just expanding this out just to make sure. So there's the design folder. Just to make sure that, we kind of see files here and everything seems to be as expected. Bootstrap select.js. Yes, yeah, it looks like it made it. Okay, so maybe there was a network issue. It says it was a network issue. It says on me the network path not found. So maybe it found it. Oh no, these are two different ones. So bootstrap select and bootstrap select.min. What do we have in here? Bootstrap select and bootstrap select.min. So select, no, they're both are here. All right, anyway, okay. I think we're okay. So what I actually prefer when using design files and developing in Angular or any JavaScript framework, I actually prefer Chrome. But we need Internet Explorer. So I think in most scenarios you will have both because you need Internet Explorer. I just like the developer tools there. It's just a lot easier to work with. Well, easier is subjective, right? I think it's more so that's what I'm used to. So what I'm gonna do, I'm firing this up in Chrome and just double checking to see if there are any issues as far as 404. So meaning that the master page is referencing something that is not loaded. Okay, so we have, oh, all the Angular stuff did not make it. App.ng modules.js. Did I fat finger those? All right, so let's look at the network tab, hit refresh, and let's look at JS files, filter by JS and sort by status. And style library, job portal, app.ng.components.js. Okay, so do we not have that file up here? Let's see. What went awry? All right, so job portal, app. Oh, it just put in app.ng. Why did it do that? Why did it do that? Oh, these do not have the js.extension. That's weird. And the cool thing about it is with this publishing process, you can be very selective of what you push out. So instead of pushing out the entire design file, which takes forever, I'm gonna just select these three and push them out. And then go back to let's go back to the style library, hit refresh and see if these guys come in now. Okay. Uh, and that's one of the cons with using publishing. If you rename anything or if you change the name, it doesn't replace the original file, right? There's no GUID or ID that's tying these guys together. It's actually the name, just like standard document library, right? So if you're doing a name change, it feels that that's a duplicate file. And remember, we disable delete everything and then republish because we're sharing this document library with other out of box SharePoint files or other files that may be there. So we don't want to blindly just delete everything and republish it. So this is one of those things that we have to deal with, that when there's a renaming or something like that, we have to go and manually delete those old files. Not a big deal, but just something to be aware of. Okay, so now if we hit refresh, looks like I have a clean bill of health on the CSS side. I'm sorry, on the JS side. What about CSS? Clean bill of health there. I'm still getting this red loading. Let's do all. Hit refresh. Who's throwing a 404? Where are you? Nope. Everyone's coming in. What's the console saying? I have a red load. Why do I have a red load? Maybe that's a performance indicator. Hmm. All right. So far it looks like everything is wired up, right? We don't have any, well, everything that's referenced in the master page. So far we don't have any 404s, and we resolved any ones that we were pending. So now let's go ahead and drop in some HTML to start to change the design a bit on that master page. So if we go back to the index.html page, design page, basically all we want to do is grab, because I collapse these by components, right? So there's, as you will see, there's slideshow, feature, testimonials, blogs, and those are going to be all those individual components, right, on the page, right? So if we look at this guy, so that's the carousel, featured jobs, the browse, boom, 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 boom. So we can ignore all of those. All we want is to grab this header section here, and I'm gonna just copy this while it's collapsed. It's just easier to select. Remember that one small little section that we have to where all the custom design should go. That's where we're gonna paste it. So custom UI starts here. Okay, so we have a title. Let's do this. Let's stay inside of this div tag. These two guys we can play around with. We can figure out where to position these later. So I'm gonna just drop these guys here above the H2. That's going to be our header and our main top whale. Okay, and once you paste those in, you're going to collapse everything. So expand everything. And then what I'm gonna do, just to make sure, I'm gonna just add a simple class here, job portal container, just so that we know that in CSS, if we ever have to affect the outlet container of this whole entire design file, that would be one place to do that. We'll have a handle on that. So I'm gonna just do that job portal container class. I don't have any definition, any style predefined for that. It's just one of those things that if we need it, it's there and it's already defined. Okay, so let's save that off. Let's go back and get the footer piece. So we're gonna skip slideshow and all this other good stuff. And we want to grab the copyright. All right, so let me just grab these. So everything inside the comment. So footer starts here, footer ends here. Right click, copy, go to the master page, let's go to the bottom here and paste. All right. And what else? So now this thing is going to be referencing images, right? And obviously those are going to come up as blanks. All right, I'm trying to say, oh yeah, so this image, for example, is going to come up blank. Now we can easily fix this by doing and this is where we take advantage, and this is only temporary, right? So style library slash job portal slash image, right? That's the path. Nope, Deshaun, you made it more complex. You put design in there. So job portal design slash images and then the logo. Okay, and this is going to be a fake logo. So this guy here, I don't think there may be other images here. We have to hunt and find them, or we can just publish this out in the 404 and tell us exactly where they are. So let's do that. So we have the logo wired up. So let's just save the master and let's just push the master out. Again, I'm going to be very particular on the page. I'm going to be very direct. And all right, so that seems to be out there. Bring up Chrome, hit refresh. All right, so we're getting close. We're getting very close. We have a comment that kind of went awry. I think we lost the arrow with that. But as far as the other, let's close this out. Let's take a closer look. We're close. We're not 100%, but we are close. All right, so let's fix this comment tag. And because I think I either forgot an arrow or something like that. So what's it? Top start here. So let's do a find on that. Top start. Yeah. There we go. So that's going to fix that piece. What else? Let's try to compare. Something's off. I can't put my finger on it, but let me just put these up here. If we look at, so this should be gone now. The font size looks different. Yeah, and this is stacking, right? Oh, I remember what this is. I know exactly what this is, I think. All right, so one of the things that I'm noticing, if we right click here, just to kind of figure out what's what, and if you select this tag, the style will kick in, and you have that's the style there, and that looks good. But this guy here, this Oslo.css, is starting to kick in and override some things. So obviously the design file would not have that. Only SharePoint would have that. And this is coming from, let's just scroll up here to the top. That Oslo guy is coming from that Oslo CSS theme, which is like the last guy called. So this is overriding anything. So if there is two styles or over our global styling that's defined in that style.css, we're being overridden with this Oslo because of its positioning. So what I want to do, let's just cut this out. We need it, right? Because it brings in the styles and all the other good stuff for the ribbon and all the editing tools. So we need it, but we do not want it to be a prominent thing, meaning that to have the final say. So we want to reference this first. As you already know, that in CSS, the order of referencing is key. I should have caught this, and that's one of the things that should have been in the I'm sorry, the starter package. I actually should have defined this guy first, and then all the custom things later. Um, but I think that's fine. We caught it. I think we're good to go. So as far as the order of operation, there are two key pieces that we want to make sure that we have the ordering right. Obviously, everything here, this is all from designer. So how the designer had these ordered in position, we just want to mimic that. But this guy here, this is out of the box theming style. We always want to reference that first when we start getting into the CSS chunk. And then there's SP overwrites. we want to make sure this guy is last. Even after the designer files, we want to make sure this guy is last, because anytime if we have any issue with like either the icons, the gear icon, the editing mode, and all this other good stuff, this is where we're going to make our corrections just for SharePoint isms, right? We don't want to go in here and design or modify anything that the designer has put in place, because that just kind of leaves us open, especially if you're still having a designer on your team as you're kind of going through this project. They can send you updates and changes here, and it has zero impact on what you already customized or tweaked or fixed within SharePoint. That's why we separate those out. We don't want, two hands in the same pot, especially with CSS and things along those lines where there's a separate team managing that. Okay, so now that we move our Oslo first, um, there should not be any global like fonts or, global H2, H1 body definitions or anchor tag definitions that will affect the custom design. So if I right click this and hit publish, we can take a look on what this ends up looking like. Okay, so this is the HTML. This is the master. Hit refresh. Okay, so now we are good. All right, so all this out of the box stuff, that's because we're not using the right HTML snippet. I'm sorry, the HTML tags for that. So I'm okay with that. We have this error. What's this error? Let's see. Oh, that's the footer, 404 for the footer. Okay, let's track that guy down. Footers dash logo. Find footer dash logo. Oh, you know what? That may be in the CSS. Okay. Foot. Oh, no, it wasn't footer. It was foot dash logo, right? I heard you. I heard you. All right, foot dash logo. Okay. So let's do style, library, job portal, design. And obviously, if there's a bunch of these, which we probably encounter, you can just do a find and replace with the, you can format that to where you don't have to manually do this. All right, so let's go ahead and publish this out. Let's take a look, see where we land. Okay, so far it looks like we're error free. And if we look at the bottom, that looks okay. Of course, all of this is hard coded, but we're going to get to the Angular bit, and that's going to satisfy that. And if I flip flop between these two outside of the SharePoint header, we seem to be spot on, which is what we want to be. Everything in the middle is obviously it's not going to match yet because we didn't update that. But if we look at the footer, spot on. Oh, what's this? All right, so we have this weird thing here. Oh, we don't have this back to top, and the logo here seems to be off. But we're not going to worry about that. Once we get to this area here to develop it, we can tighten that up. But yeah, it definitely seems like there's some margin changes there, but not a big deal. I'm not going to worry about that now. Okay, so that's that. That's how you easily get this design inside of SharePoint Masterpage. Again, it's once you have a nice starter package to go with, and you try to keep things one-to-one as much as possible. Obviously, you want to make tweaks to where it fits within SharePoint and it makes sense from a SharePoint perspective. But as far as getting designs in, this should be pretty straightforward. And then if you go into edit page, we still should have our zones and all this other good stuff. We still have our ribbon because, that's the Oslo that's kicking in. That theme is making sure that the sprite and all this other good stuff is right. You should still be able to come in here and drop in wet parts. And obviously, these are going to be a little bit wacky because they're not optimized for this design. So next step, let's go ahead and start to set up the Angular pieces. Really start to stub out a lot of those components that we skipped over within the main body. Start dropping those into Angular and Angular templates and start getting our component structure together. and really start getting to the meat of this thing. Okay, that's it for this video. I'll catch you in the next video. Again, subscribe and turn on notifications so as these things drop, you can jump in and add comments and questions and all this other good stuff. Any clarification needed, you can jump down in the comment sections, let me know. All right, talk to you soon. Take care.